Some things I've learned from dating a black guy. First off, seasoning.
I'm dating a South African man and I live in Germany, and let me tell you something.
So part 2. I fit the stereotype, at least physically anyway.
What have you learned since you've been married to a black African man?
What, being married to a black African man? I now eat so much more spicy food.
Nigerian household items that are totally new to me. Number 1, floor rack.
What's up friends, welcome back to my channel and you're most welcome to today's video. TikTok is full of women sharing their honest experiences about dating men from different cultures, and this one particular trend is of white women talking about dating black men and African men. From learning why moisturizing is not optional to discovering food that actually has flavor, and also to realizing that family culture and traditions can be completely different. So we are going to react to some of the most interesting clips where these white women are talking about this. And without wasting time, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get started.
Some things I've learned from dating a black guy. First off, seasoning. These, throw them in the trash. Just kidding, I've never used that as seasoning. But since being with a black guy, you know, before, a couple seasonings, nah. If you're putting 3 seasonings on chicken, that's not enough. We got like all these. And almost every time, depending on what you're cooking, almost every single one's going in. You mix it up in a bowl, you know? Back before I did a black guy, you know, you just sprinkle it on the chicken. Nah, that's nasty now. Never go back. Seasonings, best thing you need for your chicken.
Nigerian household items that are totally new to me. Number 1, floor rags. In this household, we have old clothes that have been converted to just rags that just like live on the floor. And it works, particularly in the kitchen. Number 2, humongous grinder dedicated purely to pepper. We have food processors in the West, obviously, but usually I would make a smoothie. I would not be blending pepper exclusively. Number 3, mothball, small smelly things. Smell like grandma's. My boyfriend says that they scare away cockroaches. Yes, but I don't want to go out of the house smelling like a grandma. Have them in my house. Am I gonna like soak in the smell as well? Not a grandma. I am young. Number 4, rechargeable fans. In Nigeria, electricity is not a given. NEPA is a fickle thing. Yes. So obviously when the power cuts out, if you're blessed, you have solar power, but what if the solar cuts out? What if there's been no sun? Have a rechargeable fan. Okay. Number 5, the super cool swishy broom. I think that many countries all over the world have different approaches to sweeping. In Vietnam, they have this kind of broom. In Australia, I grew up with this kind of broom. Of course, you can access this kind of broom here in Nigeria too, but I prefer the local broom. The long swishy one made of, I think, palm leaves. Number 6, giant mats. Like a rug, but better. If you want to go sit outside, you just take a giant mat. But also, get out a mat, you've got a bed. Anyway, what are some other classic Nigerian household items? Let me know in the comments. Thank you, bye.
I have never realized, like, actually how racist people really are. I've never been with a black man before, and ever since I have, he always told me that, you know, beware that you're with me and I'm black. I'm gonna get looked at. People are gonna say things. It's just part of life. That's just what it is. I never really understood what he meant by that. Till now when I'm posting on social media, it's crazy. You know, we live in a world where this is so normalized. People go with a different kind, okay? We're all one. We are all equal. Why does it matter if I choose to have kids with a black man? I don't understand. That's what I've been attracted to. Why does it matter what I do? Oh, but on a serious note, though, stop worrying about who and what people are doing with their lives. This world will never get better unless you make a difference. Stop worrying about who I like and what color I like. It doesn't affect you at all. Leave me alone.
Nicoletta, do you feel like there's a pressure on you as a white woman dating a black man?
You know, this is funny you asked this because I did have a conversation with one of my friends.
This friend is black, by the way.
She was saying that, you know, like a lot of like black girls your age won't like you because you have a good black man.
You have a good man right here, you know.
I do see a lot of the white girls and what they're like and the shit they say, like, I just want a mixed race baby, or like fetishizing black men. I feel like I do kind of have to prove that I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But I'm a little bit over that. For me, it's important to prove myself to his family. At the end of the day, people are going to talk. People are going to say whatever they want to say, and you just move on like with your life.
So part 2. I fit a stereotype, at least physically anyway. The stereotype being a big white woman usually ends up with a black guy. I don't have a problem with that. It's the negative connotations that come with that. There are a demographic of big white women out there who date black men with the sole intention of having mixed race children, for example, for fashion purposes. That same demographic are obviously uneducated and haven't thought about maybe educating themselves about their partner's history or struggle. So the snide comments, the laughs and the not very nice look that we received from this couple, I interpreted it as maybe one of those two ways. Stereotyping and prejudice happens all the time, but it just goes to show how wrong we can be with that. And for a second it made me feel less than and embarrassed, and it made me wonder whether my partner still wanted to be seen with me or hold my hand. So this one was a double-edged sword for me, tackling plus size dating issues, plus interracial dating issues. The next part will be my partner's perspective.
I'm dating a South African man and I live in Germany, and let me tell you something. In Germany, if you want to visit a friend, you send a calendar invite 3 weeks in advance, and then you show up right at the time, let's say 4 p.m, you drink your coffee, you leave at 5:30 p.m. as planned. In South Africa, dropping by is a lifestyle. Your boyfriend's friend will just appear at the door because he was in the area. He will stay for 6 hours, and somehow your boyfriend will have started a fire to cook meat within 10 minutes of him arriving.
What have you learned since you've been married to a black African man?
What? Being married to a black African man. I now eat so much more spicy food. Way more spicy food.
Yeah, but you can't handle spicy food.
I can now.
Yes.
More meat into my diet.
Yeah, man. Oh, it's about the meat.
I used to just eat chicken and fish, and now I eat so much more red meat. I moisturise after every shower.
Standard.
And I don't even really have dry skin, but I'm always moisturising.
I've a good positive influence on you.
And lip balm. I'm always buying new lip balm. I've got a thing for lip balm.
Because you can't have chapped lips. You're morphing into me. One day you're going to start looking like me. How about that?
I'm always last minute and late for things. I can never be on time.
What are you
so
trying to
laid
say?
back and last minute.
What are you trying to say?
I used to be very punctual, and now I'm always late.
So you're blaming that on being married to me?
Yes.
That now you've got African
You're
time.
too laid back. We don't leave the house.
But what are you in a rush for?
To get to places on time.
What for?
And the other thing, I talk so much louder, and I use loads of hand gestures all the time. Hand gestures, hand gestures.
Because you've got to be expressive.
See, you're doing it now. And then you criticise me. What are you doing with your hand?
You can't just use hand gestures willy-nilly. You've got to say, use the hand gesture for the right thing. You can't just be swiping left and right. You don't just swipe. It's got to be for the right one.
Things that have changed in the last 7 years of being married to a black man. First off, I wash my chicken, most important. I wear a bonnet. I scrub my skin, like actually scrub my skin, like an African net sponge, scrub my skin in the shower. I moisturise daily. I moisturise after every shower, not even a question. I am fully invested in the plantain debate, and it's plantain. Right, babe?
Mountain, plantain.
Up until I was pregnant and then breastfeeding, I drank Cerasee tea regularly, and I used bay rum as my toner. I don't measure any spices or seasoning when I'm cooking. I just, you know, a little bit of that.
You dash it in.
You got dash it in. I can understand patois.
Oh, what is it?
I can make fried dumplings, and they're pretty good if I say so myself. And I have coleslaw with most meals, because what meal is complete without coleslaw?
Things that have changed for me in the last 7 years since I've been married to a white woman. Firstly, I don't care about dry hands so much.
I tell him to cream. I tell him to moisturize.
So, I've learned to ride a horse. I've camped outside. Legit camping outside. I've gone on a winter holiday to Norway. That was lit.
Like -4 people.
Freezing, but it was lit. I've eaten cold party food.
As your dinner.
And I didn't like it. I've backpacked quite a few countries, which is actually really cool. I've danced to Sweet Caroline at a wedding.
He's ashamed.
Yeah, I'm ashamed. I'm embarrassed. I now don't mind an occasional runny egg. That's a lie though.
But he can do his steak a little bit more rare.
Yeah, I'll have it a little bit more rare.
We've gone from well done to medium.
I've gone from well done to medium. Take that. Oh, and I can swim.
White people are weird. So as soon as and this has happened in many places I've worked, as soon as one person realizes or finds out that I'm with a black man, and this is always the most innocent way, where I will have a picture of us as a screensaver, or you know, my background on my phone, and they see it and they're like, wait, is that your man? And then I'm like, yeah, and I'll start going off like, this is his name, and we've been, yeah, blah 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 blah, you know, whatever normal conversation when you're talking about a relationship, right? And I kid you not, almost every single place I've worked, that gets spread out somehow. So then there's other people coming up to me being like, oh, can I see a picture of your husband? Can I see a picture of your man? And I'm like, that's a little coincidental when yesterday I just told blah 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 that he was black, and now you want to see a picture? Okay. Or I've literally had people come up to me and be like, so what is your man? What is your boyfriend? Like, what is his nationality? What is his race? Because he is mixed. So it's like, okay, I get that. And that used to piss me off so much. But now I just look at it as like education. So like I can educate them, and that's like a good thing. But the one thing that really ticks me off, I had this bitch before literally say in front of somebody else, yeah, Kim's husband is black. Just like that, just informing other people I worked with right in front of my face. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? And anytime I get an attitude with somebody and I start getting a little bit my words start having some harsh meaning to it, then instantly a motherfucker will say, oh, what do you think, you're black now? Oh, bitch, you saying that because you know I'm with a black man. You got me fucked up. Don't fuck with me because you don't even know. And guess what? Gingers are black. So yes, I do. Fuck you.
Using a moisturizer is not optional while dating a black man, depending on where they are. So one of the funniest cultural differences that many of these women mention is about skincare. Several women, of course, share that before dating the black man or an African man, moisturizing wasn't all that a thing. Yes, they might have had these lotions and creams, but using them like so frequent or after every shower wasn't a thing. So when they date black men, or say the African men, they find that it's not optional to use creams or moisturizers because that is just the black thing or an African thing. Especially the women, that is a must. Of course, moisturizing helps with the skin, and then most of them are also talking about eating spiced food, flavored food, seasoned food. This depends on what you're cooking, because it is not that every food has to be spiced or seasoned. So depending on what you're cooking, to make it tasty. So if you go to a place where you see people not using spices, there are no flavors, there are different cultures and different ways in which people prepare their food. But for black people and also the African people, yeah, spices, flavors, seasoning, that is just part of it. And of course, when you hear these ladies who are married to these black men, or those who are married to African men talking about it, that means they like it, they have adopted to it, and yeah, they are loving it. And of course, it is very tasty. So then those ones, of course, who are sharing that, of course, they have learned how to wash chicken. I think it is common with the white people in the Western countries. Washing chicken, meat is not really their thing. It is good. These ladies are learning. This lady is surprised that in Africa, people use old clothes as mopping rags. This shouldn't be a surprise. Instead of throwing away the cloth, you make good use of it until it's non-usable. And of course, there are other different mopping rags there. Old, but an old cloth to be turned into a mopping rag, that is just a normal thing. So what do other people use when they are sitting outside, like apart from a chair, if you want to sit on the floor, what do you use? I think a mat is the most convenient one. I'm even surprised that this lady is talking about it. There are so many different mats, of course, in Africa, made from different banana leaves, from palm leaves, from so many things, and they are all very usable. A mat is a must-have in an African home. Like, I will speak for where I come from. A mat is a must in our homes. There are those that people use every day. Then there are those that are kept for visitors. And of course, depending also on the culture, they were designed like women are supposed to sit down on the mat and the men are the ones who sit on the chairs. That's how it used to be. It is just these days that, of course, things have changed. But in the old days, the women and the girls used to sit down on the mats, and then the boys and the men sat on their chairs. So a home without a mat is seen like not serious. African time is an issue, but one thing is that when people date, there is a way they adjust to each other's time. In interracial datings, of course, stereotypes cannot be ruled out or cannot be avoided. People will always be assuming things, people will always be talking. Even if they don't have any evidence about your relationship, people will always be talking. And then also, racism, you cannot avoid it, especially if you are in an interracial relationship. People just have to learn to keep up with it, like if it happens. So when you are in an interracial relationship, especially between a white and a black person, there will be those cultural differences. There are things that will be shocking to you. There are things that you will see maybe for the first time. So it is an adventurous kind of relationship, and I think it is a good one. You learn new things, you venture into new things. Like that couple, the white girl, I think had never eaten sugarcane. Maybe she had even never seen it. Things can be interesting. So those ladies were sharing their experiences dating black men or even African men. And with that, I will end this video here for today. What do you think about these experiences? Have you also experienced the same somewhere? What cultural shock did you find when you dated someone outside your culture? Share it in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. And if you found this video interesting, please give it a like, subscribe, and let's catch up next time.